All right. Hopefully we're running now. Today's topic is going to be the topic of declining birth rates, demographic collapse, as people like to call it. Is it really as daunting and this great boogeyman of sorts that everybody makes it out to? Because I want to have a real conversation about this and why anybody actually cares about it. So, this is Freedom Phil. Like and subscribe. And always turn up the video speed. Why do I say that? Watch videos faster. Why wouldn't you? You should be watching this when it goes up at least 1.75. Let's get into it. And remember, I'm always sub-horn, trying to get up to 925. One step at a time. I've heard people talk about the declining birth rate in America and the first world, all over the world. It seems like now they're starting to take notice because a lot of second world countries are moving up a little bit and they're having less children. It turns out that all that birth control you gave them, some of the women are like, hey, great, I have a reasonable sized family now and I don't have to constantly have kids. Like, so tested in America, or the West, I should say, then exported everywhere else. And what's the problem? Really, what's the problem? And the answer for this is fairly simple. They don't care about you. They just care if they have cheap, affordable workers to keep the machine going. In the same way that you, when you go to some store, some box store and buy something from China, you don't care how the life of that sweatshop worker. You don't even care if it's a child. Just like with your electric cars, if we're being honest, you don't care if there's some kid digging, rare earth minerals out with a stick in the hand. And you're like, well, at least give them a shovel. I'm not trying to be like cold on this, but that's the truth. You don't really care. Nobody really cares about the declining birth rate. It's just a popular thing to talk about. Now, I know some of you think, no, I care about it because I want my culture to continue. But ask yourself, why do you constantly need more people? And the answer is because you've made promises for decades. And by the way, boomers. The greatest generation set this up. You just rode it the whole way down. You just rode the slide, yay, all the whole way down. And hopefully it was a fun ride. And the slide ends with like a coffin there, like, yay, in the ground, motherfuckers. But yeah, you guys got to enjoy the whole thing. The free love movement, all this. They had a few wars. But it was great for business. Birth control is great for business. Children are good for business. But like ladies, let's be honest, you value, for instance, you value the date more than the relationship. You value, it's like when women say, I want my day, she wants to get married. But then they don't want to be a wife, okay? And it seems more and more like relationships in the West are nothing more than a transaction. For profit-wise, it's in the system's best interest to have you, throwing your backside around because guys will continue to buy things and pay for things. So it's great business. Instead of someone way back in the day, Little House on the Prairie, getting married at 15, and maybe it was a guy that was like, 25, he's established, he's a blacksmith, or his family owns a farm. Now women are like 30 years old. And they're getting married and maybe they're having kids. You see women trying to postpone it into their 40s. I'm like, but by the way, good luck having a healthy kid, ladies. Because it's all about this constant extension of the play day. Just no responsibility. I get it. I understand it. But the flip side to it is that then they talk about, we need more children. No. Cut the crap. You need more workers, more obedient workers. That's why they want open borders. They want cheap, disposable workers. American workers, they're a problem, just like European workers. And the sad part is how much of it is also based on keeping tax dollars flowing in. They need new workers to pay new taxes to pay for the boomers' Social Security, and the Gen Xers are like, hey, wait a minute. Whoa. I was going to retire. Well, Gen X, you better save your money. But yeah, you got the boomers. They'll probably this will all collapse after they're gone. Let's just be real. And you got all the Generation X people they'll probably experience some of the pain. But if we hadn't had, over the years, if we'd never set up the Social Security system and the welfare system, it's likely, and by the way, if you hadn't made birth control, by the way, I agree with birth control. I think abortion is kind of monstrous, but some degree a necessary evil. I'm just going to be real about that. But if we hadn't set that crap up, you wouldn't see a declining birth rate. But I will pose this question to all of you. In reality, considering the world we're coming into, and the only real reason anybody gives a damn about a man is what he can do. Like when they say in a relationship, what's she look like? Their question for the dude, what's he do? Well, we are taking away one job after another. Sure, there's still a lot of jobs out there. There's lots of trades, a lot of stuff. But we are taking away as technology slowly become like, we'll have robots eventually. And, the whole concept of nursing homes, people may just have their nursing robot, We are taking away one job after another, after another, after another. What do we need all these people for at this point? What do we need this high population full of substandard people? What, taxpayers? Stop spending more money than the government truly needs, and this wouldn't be an issue. The reason that Europe and the UK are falling apart is because of all the social programs. And those social programs, they thought if we just let enough people from the third world in, they'll come and work the jobs that our people don't want to do. Well, it turns out if you give those people benefits, they're not going to go to work. Those people grew up in a place in some, shanty town. You give them an apartment, they're living like a goddamn king, and you're paying for it. Of course, they're not going to go to work. And so then we get into the question, and this is where people will be like, this part offends people. So if you're weak and sensitive, go stare at something shiny. There are tons of people that really shouldn't be having kids for a lot of different reasons. Take the racial component out of it whatsoever. But I've ran into a lot of people in the world that frankly, they're low IQ, or they have bad diseases. They have mental illnesses. I don't want those motherfuckers having children. I want people that are actually fit and healthy having children. Not only that, like responsible people. Most of the people I run into, they're basically middle schoolers their whole fucking life. And the only time that they adult up is when life forces them to. I mean, with the credit system we have in this world, most people buy crap they don't really need. Like overpriced cars, houses that are stupidly huge that, cost more to heat, more to cool, more to exist. They basically are middle schoolers. We don't need more of that crap. And I know a lot of people say, well, they're going to force you to live in the pod and eat bugs. Oh, come on. Maybe, you know what? Here's a wild thought for you. What if the bugs actually taste good? What's the fucking problem? And as far as the pod thing, when you're young and you've really got no money, you're just starting out in life, whether you got a trade or an actual real college degree, unlike most of you. Like most of you go to college and you get the most worthless shit, I swear to God. You should be living in a pod at that age. When you're working to build yourself up, you live in something that's absolutely affordable so you can save money to pay cash for a house. Midwest, the South, somewhere. You own your house. Most of you will never do that. The idea that we need more people that are just clogging up the freeways, clogging up the line at the Mickey D's. Like you go to the Mickey D's, right? And you have people that they've been driving to this place. They should have an idea what they want. And they're like, what do you want, cats? What do you want? Yeah, get the fuck out of the way. Get out of the way. We don't need more of those people. And the truth of it is, the more technical our world is becoming, the less jobs we have for those people. So this whole boogeyman of demographic collapse, if you don't even have a job for those people to do, and eventually the argument would be, once the machines are doing everything, maybe we'll have a UBI. Yeah, but then it'll be even more relevant to ask the question, why do we need all these fucking people? Because why should we give UBI to some, you got people that are like, I don't want to be rude here, but like whether it's the trailer trash or people with hood IQs, why the fuck should we subsidize that? I understand why if you have like your Sheldon Cooper Einstein types and we want to, press that gene onto the future, you have people that are, look at some of the great runners, some of the great athletes, and people that are just a great specimen, great example of a man or a woman. I don't care what group or race you're from. I can see why we'd want to press that towards the future. But dude, seriously, in a world with declining numbers of jobs in the first world, like basic jobs, and the fact that nobody is willing to adjust their strategy when it comes to how they live, how they exist, how they do, I'm just being honest. Declining birth rates aren't a bad thing. Because frankly, most of the people that are having kids shouldn't have kids. And the people that should have kids, you've made it so fucking expensive that they're looking around and going, this isn't responsible. It's literally the intro to the movie Idiocracy. And you bring it back to like, the only reason they care about you having children is so they have affordable workers. And after how many years, 60, 70, let's say 100 years of pushing feminism and talking trash about the nuclear family, at least 60 years of talking trash about the nuclear family. Hey, I guess you won. People are having less kids. And that was all okay in the first world as long as you had a steady flow of migrants to come do the shitty work for you. Or you had some other country where, sweatshops and all that nonsense, just like the joke of the electric car. Oh, I'm a good environmental conscientious person. Meanwhile, there's some poor African boy holding a shovel, digging for your rare earth minerals. Some kid who's like 10 or 12 years old. You're such a good person. Buying that status symbol. It's fucking stupid. But yeah. And until we get to the point where we can start building colonies on other planets, I really think it'd be a good thing if we had less people. I'm not saying Thanos snap half the population away, but you can't show me any really good reason to keep increasing the population. Because the only reason you're doing it is to pay for government programs. That's it. That is absolutely the only reason they want you to have kids. Government programs, taxes, obedient workers, and so you'll buy more shit. And that, really, that is the legacy of the last 100 years of the greatest generation and the boomers. You bought a lot of crap. And a lot of that crap will go right into a fucking dumpster or a car crusher. That is the meaning of your life. And then you have the nerve after just borrow and spend, tax somebody else to say, well, we need more people to pay my Social Security. Just saying. No. We need to get rid of all this debt style infrastructure. We need to get back on a balanced budget. And maybe if we had more tradesmen to build houses, people could afford to have houses, and maybe they'd have families. But trust me, I've tried for years to say, hey, minimalism, work hard, save your money, invest when you're young. Nobody gives a shit. So this fucking Titanic of population decline is going right to the iceberg. And that's what needs to happen. I'm sorry. That's the truth. So, peace. Y'all have a good day.